Hey guys, it's Allison. Today I am doing a college application advice video, also like figuring out where you're going to college. That type of video will be today because I've been accepted to all of my schools back in December, and now I'm like in the process of like figuring out where I want to go to school. So I feel like I could help you guys out, and you guys can kind of get an insight for those of you who are either juniors, or if you are going to be a high school senior in a couple of years and you just want to know like how I went through it, kind of tips on what I could have done better if I had the chance to go back, I would do. So a lot of stuff like that. So I hope you guys enjoy this video, and yeah, I'm wearing these glasses because why not? So let's just jump into this video. Start your application process early because it is very easy to just kind of procrastinate and just like leave it to like the last second, and then like you gotta like, when early action is like the night before, like it's due like the next day, and you're like at midnight like trying to press the submit button. I know a lot of friends who have done that, and like people around me that I've talked to that have done that. So if you don't want to be that person, definitely start your application process early. A lot of them open up August, so that'll let like for fall of whatever year. So fall of 2018 opened up for the common application on during August. So it was like perfect that I got to like have like a couple weeks before school starts to just like start, you know, going over all of like what I need for all of like the colleges that I'm applying to. But I think it's all of them. All the application websites, they like let you save it so you don't have to do everything like all at once. So I think that's really cool. You can like just go back to it. So I recommend just starting your applications early because it really helps like when you get into like senior year, because it's stressful with colleges, and like if you're doing sports and stuff and extracurricular, it's just like great to like just do college applications whenever you have time. Create a list of all of the colleges that you're going to be applying to, and then also like the different things that you need, like the different requirements for your application process. So I would say like create a list of like a school, and then put like below it like all of like the things that you need. All schools ask for a transcript and any type of like either ACT or SAT or one or the other depending on the school, and then obviously application. So that's just the most generic thing that most schools ask for, but some schools are more specific. Whether they're competitive, they might ask for or require an essay. Some schools ask for a personal statement and teacher recommendation or like a recommendation. So definitely it's a great way to just like create a list of all those things that you need for each school, and then create like a checkbox. So like as you get those done, you can just check it off as you go, and it just makes it even better, because if you're applying to a bunch of colleges and, you know, places, it's just very tough to like keep everything in check. So by creating a list, you just help narrow down what you need to do. Once you like submit your application, make sure you like get organized and figure out like you know, getting your transcript and getting your test scores, and then other things that you need to do like right after, because it can be very easy to just submit your application and then just be like, you know, a couple weeks later be like having like the school or like your admission counselor like emailing you or texting you like, where's your, you know, test scores and transcript. It's just easier to just like compile everything, and just once you submit your application, you're submitting your test scores, and then you're submitting your transcript and anything else that you need, because it's just very easy to lose track of it. I know that happened to me. Like I was applying to one school, and I applied like early November, and then like a couple weeks later, like I just decided to send in my scores and then my transcript. So I recommend just doing all of them together, because then you're gonna forget, especially because I didn't like make a reminder or anything. I just kind of like let life go by, and then a couple weeks later they're like, where's everything else? Because so that's why I recommend just like doing everything all together, knowing where they're going, because it can take some time. And also I noticed this with the SAT, they like the College Board like didn't like, it took like a couple weeks for them to process my scores and then also send it to the school. So just know that. I noticed that when I did it twice, they sent it like the school that I was supposed to send it to, they like didn't get it for like a couple of weeks. So also know that when you're like applying, because if you're applying early action, like you need to like have all of those like sent in by that date, because then that means that you get more money because you've been accepted, and then also like you're more likely to get a response before the end of the year. So just know that. To some tips on just like figuring out what college you want to go to. So the first tip I would say is, if your school offers like college reps that come to your school, that's a great idea, because I saw like a couple of like, I was researching a bunch of other schools that like had like college reps coming, and then I did some research on them before I actually went for the meeting, and it's actually really great that I did that, because there's some schools that had like a college rep come in, and then I didn't really know much about the school, but I did some research, and then once the meeting came around, I was able to kind of get a sense of like, okay, maybe I want to apply here. And it's a great way also to just like figure out different colleges that you might want to apply to that you never really heard of, but once you got to the meeting, you're like, hey, maybe I might apply here. And that's kind of how I felt. Like there was a couple schools that I wasn't really originally applying to, but then once I went to the college meeting to visit, like to meet with the reps, like it was actually like beneficial, and it's a great way to like ask questions if it's a college that you've been wanting to apply to and attend, but you want more information. It's a great way to get more information, because they have a college rep there, they like know the school, and you can ask them questions about the school or whatever. So I think that's really great. And also it's a great way to like have a connection with your counselor, because if you are wanting to apply there and you ask them a bunch of questions, they'll know your name, and then if you go on a campus visit, they'll know your name. So it's like you're kind of building this connection, which like ups your chances to like actually like being accepted, especially if it's like a harder school to get in. Another tip I would say is doing campus visits. They are like a make or break kind of thing, because if there's a difference in like knowing like the program online, because obviously like pictures are like very important and like information, but like actually stepping foot on campus is very important, because that's kind of like how you determine like if you're comfortable in this school. Like you also get a vibe of like the student and like the atmosphere, and especially if it's like a bigger campus, like it's a public university, it's obviously a different feel than a private university with smaller classes and like obviously less students. So you kind of get a feel for that. I applied to both types of schools, so it was also really great to see like, you know, being in different private universities, how the feel is. It's pretty much the same, but obviously each campus is different. So it was cool to see different private universities and, you know, how they, you know, whether they were good for me or not. So you kind of have to find your perfect fit, and that's also why campus visits are really great. You get to step foot on campus, figure out like if this is your thing. There were a couple of like some of the schools that I visited, some of them were like very small dorms, and I was like, maybe this isn't for me. And then there were like maybe like the buildings were kind of like you know, just like a lot of different things that you can like figure out, like maybe this isn't for you, maybe, you know, there's some things that you like about some schools, some things you don't. That's why you kind of have to make a pros and cons list, which I've done, because it was very hard for me to narrow down different schools, and I'm still in the process of that. So definitely make a pros and cons list if you can't decide, because that's very tough. And also figuring out like money and stuff, and financial aid is also important, but also feeling comfortable in where you're gonna go is also important as well. Also been fun to have be on this journey of like trying to figure out your college, because as much as it is stressful, I really have been enjoying just like trying to figure out where I want to go. It's kind of like the beginning of like being independent, which is scary, but I'm definitely excited for the next chapter in my life, which is sad to say that like I'm gonna like miss, you know, high school, but like at the same time I'm definitely excited to just like be like a college student, to be a freshman, no, but just be a college student and just kind of like get to be independent, be on my own, and really find myself, which is really awesome. So yeah, just enjoy it. And those of you who are going with me on this journey, if you're a senior as well, let me know in the comments below how you're doing, how your college search is going. I'd love to know. And yeah, I think that's all this video. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I wish you all luck on your college search, and I will talk to you guys in the next one. Have an awesome day. Bye!